Commission. If you wish to be heard at this meeting, please sign the speaker list provided at the table at the side of the council chamber. Ms. Green, if you would please call the roll.
Councilman Smalls?
Here.
Mr. Welford?
Here.
Mr. Williford?
Present.
Mr. Wilson? Mr. Kish?
Present.
Mrs. Howland? Chairwoman Bettman?
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 2, approval of the minutes from the April 12th, 2016 meeting. Mr. Kish, I believe you have a correction to the minutes?
Yes. I see one mistake on here on resolution number 16-01 PC.
Go ahead.
On resolution number 16-01 PC, on motion by Mr. Wilson, second by Mr. Welford. Well, Mr. Wilson wasn't at the meeting, so I don't...
At the airport?
The motion was probably by Mr. Williford.
Williford.
You think so?
Probably.
I can't remember.
Could have been. Mr. Williford's forgetting lately.
Okay, I'll change it.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for that meeting with those corrections.
I'll second it.
Ms. Green, if you would call the roll, please.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Mr. Williford?
Yes.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Chairwoman Bettman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Agenda item 3, variance application number 860-312 Laurel Avenue, filed by Laurel Holdings III LLC for recommendation to the Board of Appeals.
Good evening. The applicant is seeking variance approval to construct a 4,660 square foot 2-story addition at 312 Laurel Avenue. The property is currently zoned commercial general. The subject property was constructed in 1971. The applicant, INET, acquired the property in 2007, and since 2009, the site has been used as a service establishment to house data for an educational institution on the first floor. They would like to do the additions to expand the use. The second floor has been vacant since the project has been going on. In order for the tenant to have the addition, they need to get a variance, and the addition will include various things such as a glass atrium, security station, conference room, elevator to make the site ADA compliant, utility rooms, and a fence around the property for security measures. As you can see on the picture up there, where the red line is the side where the addition will be placed at. Sarah, if you can go to the next slide. And this is what the new addition will currently look like if approved. It will have a more modern look with the glass atrium. Currently, the entrance to the property is on Laurel Avenue, but with the new addition, the entrance will be on the side of the property. Therefore, the applicant is requesting variances for building lot coverage, front and side yard setbacks, and the fence height. Currently, the building coverage is at 25%, and with the addition, it would bring it to 32.6%. Therefore, they're asking for a variance for it to be 33% for the building coverage. For the front yard setbacks, for the front yard, they would like to have a setback of 2 feet, 2 inches, and a side yard setback of 9 feet. And for the fence, they would like to remove the 8-foot high fence that's around the property and place it with a 9-foot fence where it will provide extra security for the property. With the addition, the owner is proposing to have 25 parking spaces because currently there aren't any on-site employees for the business. It's only occasional maintenance staff that comes occasionally to the property if there's any issues. And staff believes that 25 parking spaces will be sufficient for the project. Therefore, staff recommends to the City of Laurel Planning Commission that you recommend approval to the Board of Appeals for variance number 860 with the following conditions. The applicant shall amend their current use and occupancy permit to reflect service establishment business. The applicant shall obtain appropriate City of Laurel permits for construction of the addition and new fence installation. The applicant shall obtain a City of Laurel right-of-way permit prior to conducting any work in city right-of-ways and prior to the issuance of a building permit. Site plan shall be stamped by professional engineer and resubmitted for a signature prior to application for site work permit. That concludes my staff report readings. The applicant's attorney and other people are here if you have any technical questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to the applicant, are there any questions for Kristen? None?
I have none.
I have a Mr. Thomas Haller. Welcome. If you would state your name and address, please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. For the record, my name is Thomas Haller. I'm an attorney with Gibbs and Haller. Our offices are at 1300 Caraway Court in Largo, Maryland, 20774. And I'm here representing the property owner and the applicant. First of all, I'd like to indicate that we have several members of our team here today. We have representatives of the property owner, we have representatives of the engineer, as well as representatives of the architecture firm, if you have any questions with regard to the application. And I would also like to thank staff for working closely with us to help us bring this to you tonight. Essentially, the company that operates this facility is a company called AINet. Their corporate headquarters are in Beltsville, and they provide data processing services. They represent governments. They provide services to companies as well as educational institutions. This particular property was acquired in 2007 with the intention of establishing data processing facility here. It had previously been used in that manner by Verizon, but they've had a tenant in the first floor of the building since they acquired it, an educational institution. But they're looking to put a similar tenant in the second floor of the building. The problem is that the building structurally, it is not ADA compliant, and it also is not structurally capable of handling the weight of the electrical equipment that's needed for the data processing. So this addition will not only provide the ability to bring the building up to code as far as ADA compliance is concerned, but it also gives them the ability to provide the structural capability to handle the type of weight that they need on the second floor. In the process of doing that, as you can see, they're proposing a substantial upgrade in the facade of the building. So not only does it meet their own requirements, but it also, I think, improves the streetscape quite a bit. In addition, even though we have sought a variance for lot coverage, we're actually increasing the green area on the site. The existing site is almost completely paved. And in the process of placing this addition on, we'll be able to not only relocate the entrance, but also to provide landscaping around the entrance. So all in all, the improvements that we're proposing will be an upgrade to the property. And then the other thing that staff mentioned is the fence. Many of the companies and the governmental entities that they provide data processing services for require a higher level of security than currently exists at the property. And so the fence and the new building entrance will provide the ability to provide that level of security that's required in order for them to be able to attract the tenant that would occupy the second floor. So I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have, and we're obviously would appreciate a vote of support for this request. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haller. Are any questions for the applicant?
Questions? No. Okay.
Councilman Smalls?
Mr. Haller,
Yes.
Pleasure to see you again. My question is extremely general. In looking at the rendering, it appears that there are two different types of fencing. One, I presume, would be the higher 9 foot, I presume, is a security fence, and then what appears to be a fence sort of blocking the parking lot area. Is that an accurate interpretation of what we're seeing?
The fence in the foreground is the new fence that we're installing to provide security as people come into the site. I think the fence in the back is just is a fence along the rear property, and it's just it's not actually separating the front of the parking lot from the back of the parking lot. Mm-hmm. That's just the back property line.
I understand. Okay, I'm clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Comment of levity.
Yes.
Fences are no longer secure. Look how many people jumping over the White House.
Well, maybe we need a 14-foot high fence like you're talking about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Requirements. Okay.
Are there any other questions?
I'll just have one that's kind of just out of curiosity. The new addition, I'm sure, is probably sprinklered. I was wondering if the old existing building is sprinklered.
Yes.
It is? And then another thought I had, since this is a security fence, would there be a way for the fire department to respond to the building should they have to get past that gate? Say perhaps on in the night when nobody's there to open the gate for them.
I'm sure you want to have this on the record. Our
Please.
architect, Mr.
If you would state your name and address, thank you.
Hi, Sean Reichert. I work for Gensler, I'm the architect, and our address is 1 East Pratt Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21002. They would probably need a Knox box is typically the solution for this kind of situation, which is a key in a small box that would be attached to the fence. And the firemen would come and retrieve that key and then be able to open the door in the event of emergency. That's typically the solution for this situation. It usually comes at some point, and the fire marshal will give us that comment and tell us they need that box. It's about that size.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's a great improvement to the building. The building's been there a long time. It's kind of plain, and this really spruces it up. It reminds me of the new library that's being built here in town with all the glass, and it's a great entry into the historic district. Is, I think, coming off of Route 1 on Laurel Avenue and seeing this as you enter the historic district, I think it's pretty nice. And I was real glad when I went by there today to kind of look it over to see that the neighbor there that's had a spray-painted graffiti type of no parking on his wooden fence, that's been covered over within the past week. It's been like that for years, and it's certainly a big improvement just doing that. So that it's a great improvement to that neighborhood.
Yes, it really is. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve the variance application number 860 for 312 Laurel Avenue, filed by Laurel Holdings 3 LLC for recommendation to the Board of Appeals.
Madam Chairman, I will second that.
Thank you. Ms. Green, if you would call the roll.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Mr. Williford?
Yes.
Chairwoman Bettman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us this evening. No other business before the commission. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Bam.